for making this accommodation for me. Absolutely.
Certainly you're welcome to speak on anything, any topic, but is there anything in particular that you want to make sure you hit on?
You know, I have the meeting minutes in front of me on my laptop, and I was gonna see how it worked live streaming YouTube while having myself on mute, but I'll make sure that when asked, I propped up, but I'll probably let others speak up first. So.
Sounds good.
No, that's it. Honestly, sure, it's a bad for towns. Yeah, just the problem is when these outlines, it's got goals, their sleeves, they have one just, so those people save sauce. Not that I found just want it now, like, you know, I want to be ready. It is harder than they want, sure, yes, yeah, US and Navy, sure. They was very proud of that. Must be gold. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. About the same thing.
And so we had but always will was the tree that expired actually playing yes back in time. Usually I have songs. Rod USDA, okay, and Rod would they had piano and we would always have songs in front of there were some songs that they said, Todd asked, and Rod would just come and say, here's here's songs. That's sometimes you just play. Yeah, and those songs.
All right, the time is 6 p.m. I will call to order the November 12th meeting of the Huxley City Council. Roll call, please.
Murphy,
Here.
Mulder,
Here.
Etcher,
Here.
Rigler,
Here.
Roberts here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rigler is joining us via phone this evening. Now is the time. I'm sorry. I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion. Second, Mulder.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now is the time in the agenda for public comment. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak this evening? Mike?
I think it's on. Mike Upaw with the Ames Regional Economic Alliance, and I just wanted to provide another reminder about the Huxley Business Appreciation Breakfast. That'll be held November 19th. That's a Tuesday at 7:30, and it will be out at HuxCon. And one of the items we'll be discussing is the new business assistance program and just chance for networking. So hope that all of you can make it. We do have a RSVP request, and I think we have about 30 people registered so far. So we've been using that database that we created to market to about 100 businesses here in the area. So any questions? Well, I'm going to hand this out, and there is a website on here that you can go RSVP. And, you know, even if people didn't, I'm sure that we'll have room for them. So. Okay. Any questions for me? What's that?
Moving along this evening, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll give you a motion, Mulder. Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any items require discussion this evening? Or comments? Hearing none. Oh, you good, Ms. Mulder? No. Okay. Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mulder,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Etcher.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Moving along, item 5A this evening is resolution 24075, authorizing internal advance for funding of an urban renewal project. Need a motion on this?
I'll give you a motion, Mulder.
Give you a second.
We have a motion and a second. Brief overview, Dave.
Be happy to. As you recall, last year, we amended our urban renewal area and we created this program, which is going to be discussed at the breakfast, is the Economic Development Local Business Support Program, as well as the next resolution that you'll be talking about, which is the Urban Renewal Administration Professional Support Program. Each year, we have to do an internal advance notice by passing the resolution, so we can certify that as a debt to come out through taxes to be able to collect those funds and then be able to use them for those two programs. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you may have on either one of them.
Hearing none, ask for roll call, please.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder.
Yes.
Okay, item 5B, resolution 24076, authorizing internal advance for funding of an urban renewal project. Need a motion on this one.
Give you a motion.
Motion by Roberts.
Second.
Second by Etcher. Dave covered this previously. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes.
Resolution 24077, resolution approving professional service agreement with V&K for the Highway 69 sanitary sewer improvements.
I'll give you a motion.
Motion by Mulder,
Give you a second.
second by Ms. Roberts.
As part of the 120 South development, there were 3 different projects along Highway 69 that had to be completed for that. One is the turn lanes, one is the roundabout. Both of those projects will take place next year. But there's kind of a bottleneck on the sanitary sewer from First to Fourth. And as part of this project, in order to be able to accommodate that 120 acres, that 8-inch sanitary sewer is going to be upsized, and it's going to go to a 12-inch. We actually have a pre-con meeting tomorrow morning. They're going to do a process called pipe bursting, where they'll burst the 8-inch pipe, and then the 12 is just kind of there in place. This is for the observation by V&K. It's estimated at a cost of $21,000, and much like previous projects, a check for the $21,000 will have to be deposited. It'll serve as a credit, and If they don't spend all the money, then there'll be a refund check issued to the property owner. And if you have any technical questions, I will defer those to Forrest.
I thought we already did this, so sorry about that.
We did, the last one we did would have been for the townhome project out in 120. This is to actually like I said, upsize that sanitary sewer on Highway 69 from First Street to Fourth Street.
Few hundred feet, then it sounds like pretty long.
Any additional questions and or comments? Seeing none, roll call please.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
All right, item number 5D this evening is resolution 24078, accepting the public improvements for North Prairie View Development Plat 2. Any motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Etcher.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mulder. Dave?
This particular plat is just north of Fairway. It would be the development where Flight and now Fabled Popcorn, Remax, I think Synergy, I think is I can't think, and then there's a hair place. That was this plat 2. The only public improvements that were done for this project was some sanitary work. That's all been approved by the engineer and staff. There were a few items that we needed to get completed on the site plan, which allowed us to bring the final plat, which is the next item. But it's been kind of ongoing for a couple of years. We finally have everything buttoned up and are ready to approve the public improvements and the final plat in the next resolution.
Okay, thank you for that, Dave. Any questions and or comments on this? Seeing none, roll call please.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Okay, 5E this evening is resolution 24079, approving the final plat for Prairie View Plat Development Plat 2 as previously noted. Need a motion on this?
motion.
Motion by Ms. Roberts and a second by Mr. Mulder.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Okay, item 5F this evening is a motion to set December 4th, 2024 as the bid date for the Huxley Splash Pad project. Any
give me a motion.
Motion by Ms. Roberts,
Second.
second by Mr. Mulder. Pretty straightforward. Any questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call please.
Roberts. Yes. Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
All right, item 5G this evening is a motion to set the public hearing for December 10, 2024 for the Huxley Splash Pad project. In a motion,
motion.
motion by Ms. Roberts,
Second.
second by Mr. Mulder. Any questions or comments?
So we're only leaving this open 7 days?
No, so the bids will be due on
The 4th?
and public
Hearing. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. I'm
They
My
actually will
confusion.
go out and they'll start advertising, I believe tomorrow, that'll go out for advertisement and
Okay,
we're allowing the contractors until the 4th to submit their bid.
okay. My confusion. I'm
And
sorry.
then it's just, it'll turn around. We'll have to review those, make sure we have who we're going to award to and have it ready to be able to go in your council packet for the 10th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our regular business for this evening's meeting. We do have a work session scheduled tonight. Oh. My apologies. Department reports. Yep, nope, that's my mistake. Are there any department reports that need to be highlighted this evening? If so, I'd ask you to come up to the podium. Not seen anybody rise.
Excuse me, if not, I have just a couple of things. I just want to note that you've noticed that the TVs have been installed. We have the contractor coming in to hardwire those next Monday morning at 8:30, so those should be operational. They will provide a very good picture to the folks. I know the mayor did point out that we may want to consider having that camera moved to be able to, since the podium will be sitting in front of you and the crowd will be facing us going forward. But these TVs, they will come out. I just want to tell everybody, just don't come up and grab them. They kind of showed Barb and I how to move those. You don't want to grab the sides. There's really nothing there and you can damage them. So we'll typically have those hopefully set up prior to you coming in. We may have to wait and move them once everybody's seated, but it doesn't take long to move them. They move fairly quickly. The other thing I have is last Friday, and Brenda Dreyer was going to be here, but I know she sent me a note today that she was ill and unable to attend. But we met with, say it if I don't remember, Melissa Mushik, and she's with Discover Ames. And we got to talking about the potential of becoming a partner with Discover Ames and putting an ad in their upcoming publication. They put out this Discover Ames magazine, and they have about 27,000 copies that go out. They go to every hotel in Ames. They go to every freshman coming into ISU. They go to all the visitor centers throughout the state. Boone County, some businesses in Boone have advertised. We got to talk, and we had kind of a rough year for a lot of our businesses this year, with 69 being closed north and south. And I would like you to consider allowing us to be less than 14. The full page ad is $1,400. If you become a partner with Discover Ames for $250, you get a 20% savings. So it's about $1,370 is what the whole ad would be, plus becoming a member. And they would help put together the ad. What we would do is kind of highlight a few of our key businesses, Fence Line, Flight, talking about them being the #1 burger, in 2023, maybe talk about the plaza, there are a number of new shops. The ad would also have the QR code that would list every single business. So if somebody hit the QR code, they would be able to look at every business that's here in Huxley. And as that list gets updated, that constantly changes. Going forward, that's something that maybe that we could partner with businesses, but I thought, this past year, all of these businesses have suffered a little bit. All of our local option sales tax is generated from our businesses here in the community, pay property taxes as well. There are also some other benefits of being a partner that we would see, and I'd like you to consider allowing me to go ahead and get this thing rolling. Their deadline was normally November 1st, but we can kind of squeak it in, and this print would come out in January. So, and like I said, there's 27,000 copies that get distributed around that would highlight Huxley and some of the things that we have here in the community.
Any objection to that? Maybe I'll just go that direction. No objections? Not seeing any objections to that concept, Dave?
If not, thank you very much. I know in talking with them, Brenda had some photos that we could use. They'll actually put the ad together that we'll be able to take a peek and make sure that it's what we want for the city of Huxley, and then we'll get it out. And I think this is another piece that during this breakfast on the 19th with our business community, I think that's something that we can say that's something else the city's doing, to help our local businesses is, we know that they had a tough year this year, and this is a way to hopefully bring people to town next year. So thank you.
Perfect. That'll wrap up department reports. We'll hit council comments at this point in time. Barb, is there anything else from you? Okay. Dave, anything else? Okay. Sir.
Dave, have we had any discussions with Story County about 560th Street to the south of 210 and getting that paved with 210 being closed and the interferences that are gonna happen next year on 69 and a couple upcoming years? Is there any appeal to us to try and get 560th, that last mile connected?
Earlier this year, Jeff Peterson and I both made a request to Darren Moon, the county engineer. And I think if I remember correctly, Jeff, he stated that it wasn't in their plan or they didn't have the funding to do that. And I know that was kind of earlier this year when we were having all that traffic and there was a lot of traffic in the dust coming. I mean, I'd be happy to reach out to Linda Merkin and see if we can approach it that way, but we really didn't get a good vibe from the county engineer that there was much
I've got a
willingness to do that.
I got a warm pulse from the DOT and the support of that, realizing that they kind of had us trapped this
Mhm.
year and 210's gonna kind of limit us next year. And
Right.
then as you, and I've noted that the roundabout at 21069 is trying to be programmed for a couple of years out.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of traffic issues that potential, and we see them now with all the lanes open. So I don't know. I think that could benefit our community if we could reach out to Story County again. We might be able to get some support from the DOT, especially since there's a concrete plant a quarter
Set
mile
right
away
there.
from the road, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think they're probably get some pretty solid prices on that. So if you would, I'm interested in that. I don't know if everyone else is.
I know, when I got here, Jeff said it's just like 1 mile.
It is.
From 210 down to where to Polk County, it's a mile of paving is all that's needed.
Yeah, I
to
think
complete
that'd
that.
really help out our citizens during this construction.
Well,
So,
even after the construction, I mean, it
absolutely.
would just help give one more avenue of traffic flow.
On the, books with Story County a few years ago, and took it off because we put some money on where it's gonna take the project, so. Sit back there and go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, when we did the other parts of 560th, we had some split because it was in the city limits. I'm assuming this is all outside of city limits. Yeah, so there's no opportunity, but it offers some benefits to because when 69's under construction, people are gonna go over to 560th and boy, it'd give them a relief. So. Okay, well, if you would, Dave, that'd be great. I'm pushing a little bit from the DOT side also. But if you need any support from me, let me know.
Stretcher. Ms. Roberts. Mr. Regular, were there any comments for you this evening?
No, nothing additional.
Okay, thank you very much. That will conclude our regular business this evening. We do have a work session scheduled this evening with 4 items on it. Item 7A this evening is the Oak Street Lift Station improvements. AJ?
Okay. Guess I'll start over. I'm AJ Strumfer, wastewater superintendent. Yes, for those of you, I assume everybody got my memo. I guess plainly, that lift station was retrofitted in 1992. We've been struggling with some priming issues. It's it's been on her radar for quite some time. We've pretty well done everything that we've been told to do. And the original supplier of that pump station doesn't normally make house calls. We had him in town for a class, so I got him over there and we went through everything. I've talked to a few different engineers, trying to figure out what our options could be. What we kind of narrowed it down to is there's a good chance that there's like a pinhole in that suction line. And we pulled the piping apart. I tried push hammering it. I've pretty well done everything that I can really think of, along with the engineer's side, to figure out what we can do. The other option we looked at was maybe trying to line that with some sort of a liner, but since it's pulling so much vacuum, it's pulling roughly about 16 feet, somewhere in there, I believe is that one. Between 12 and 16 feet, we'll say. But anyways, with it being that pulling that vacuum, they were worried about basically that liner collapsing inside of that pipe, pulling that vacuum. I still have him looking at other options just to make sure that retrofitting is the right option. Cause I mean, I don't want to spend $200,000 if I don't have to. So, that's kind of where I'm at. What I've got on here is essentially just the engineering side of it, figuring out, I had all the work done. I mean, I had 3 bids. I had everything figured out the way I wanted. It was just not apples to apples was the big part. So that was really hard without having a spec sheet, it's about impossible. I mean, I could write something up, but I'm not an engineer. So there's something I'm gonna miss. So that was kind of where that came down to. The bummer of it is it added quite a bit of money with engineering, plus making sure that the DNR side, all that, it's gonna add money to that project. So basically what I'm looking for is just making sure that everyone's aware of what I got here. I've only got 2 bids for the engineering. I'm looking at basically a wastewater study right now. The plant design is like 900 pounds of BOD per day. We're averaging about 800 to 925 right now pounds of BOD, along with our additional flow from the water plant. That pretty well skyrocketed our daily flows. We're getting anywhere from 50 to 150,000. Actually probably closer to about 75,000 to 150,000 gallons a day from the water plant. So that really changed our loading there. The wastewater plant was never really designed for anything like that. So along with that, I just kind of wanted to, like I said, I've been looking at engineering on that. I'm struggling finding engineers that we would want to work with, put it plainly. So, yeah, I guess.
So basically, the lift station is obsolete.
Yes, yeah. I can still get parts for it, but what we figured out is that suction pipe's actually where the main problem is. That suction pipe is in smack dab in the middle of the lift station. And I don't know if you've ever been by there,
Yeah.
but there's not a lot of room to work. There's a storm sewer that goes right over top of that suction line. And with it being, okay, this thing just keeps dying. So, with it being right in the middle, there's no way to basically put a new suction pipe in. That was our original thought, like, okay, yeah, let's repair what we got, right? Well, you're still running into controls that are 32 years old and things of that nature. We're still running on bubbler systems, which probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but that's old school technology. I do like it because it seems pretty reliable and it's simple, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at on that. So yeah, we looked at replacing the pipe, we looked at lining it, and even with the liner, the original product was $70,000 to $90,000 per pipe. There's 2 pipes. So you're 140 to 180 grand right there. So at 200,000 roughly for brand new pumps, controls, dialers, I mean, everything essentially other than the wet well, which the wet well was put in 1975, but I don't really see any real signs of wear on that. So kind of what I'm looking for is getting any input on what you would like me to move forward with as far as getting the engineering started, if this is a project that's reasonable. Like I said, it is 32 years old. So.
Yeah, so the lift station was late 70s, wasn't it, Jeff? And we haven't done anything basically other than manufacture, so there's gotta be a leak somewhere.
There's two different there's two different pumps and they each have their own suction line. It's the same pump that we keep losing prime on.
So that line has to be a
So there's
leak.
gotta be a pinhole in it where enough will fill in with debris, and I've had it where I can get 2 weeks of priming, and then I've had it days when I've had to prime it 3 times in a day. And if it's not me or Jake, wastewater guys, it's easy for us, we can get her done in anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the day. But when that's somebody else, not as privy to it, it takes them a while, it's frustrating for them especially. And you're doing it on your weekends. Cause you know, they're there for redundancy, so for whatever reason, the other one fails, I'm worth flooding basements.
But even if we replace the lines, that line,
Still,
we're still looking at pumps that are over 30 some years old. That, yeah,
pumps that can-
all we've done is maintenance.
Yeah, and I've put a decent amount of money in. Not like we're throwing everything away what I have spent. But
Do we have a little slush fund of money we can use to kind of make these repairs?
We do not use the term slush fund in local government.
All right, thank you.
That's a Barb, I can just imagine Barb's face. So I just wanted to throw that out.
I apologize.
I
Thank
do
you.
believe that Barb has looked at AJ's budget and there are dollars there. If you want to move forward with the engineering, we would bring that back at the next meeting for you to approve his recommendation at that point, and then move forward with getting that put together and then see where we're at. And then you'd have to finalize the project once we get firm numbers on, what that's going to cost.
So is the recommendation then to go with,
right now, I'm just looking at it.
yeah, for WHKS is who you're,
They're the lower bid. There was some comments brought up about, the administrative and construction side of it, that's not specifically there being bid to this, but, I mean, in all reality, it shouldn't take more than, I mean, if they're there for more than a week in this record, I'd be surprised. In all reality, my goal is to have it done in like 2 days. So, as long as, I mean, you got some of the payment side. We're gonna pretty much inspect everything, plus I wanna make sure I know how it all works.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would think that it's not working right and it's a critical part of our infrastructure for that area. You've done everything you can. Thank you for trying to keep it going and retrofit it as long as you have and prime it. There's a lot of investment and time and effort for that. So it's something my opinion is we need to move forward with, and if we have some funds to do that, we gotta make sure our infrastructure, people can flush their toilets.
The wastewater fund has earned a substantial amount of interest on what's there just in 4 months.
So,
I guess there's no other comments the way that it sits, I'll pretty well ride with this memo. Moving forward for the next council meeting, but if there's anything would like change or.
Dave, the city's purchasing policy may differ a bit for professional services, but typically we would expect 3 quotes. Is that different for professional services?
Most places that I've worked, professional services, and I don't fully remember Iowa's law, but in the 2 state, I mean, most states, professional services, you don't even have to go out for quotes. You could pretty much choose who you want to work with.
That is correct. There's
So-
no legal requirements for.
Or for Iowa. That's kind of what, I mean, I knew it was that way in Missouri, but I just wasn't sure about. I thought Iowa was that way, so I think as long as AJ's got a couple quotes and he's happy with them and he wants to make a recommendation, I think we should honor that.
We'd still get 3 bids for the actual.
For the work, yeah,
construction.
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah.
We've already got 3 bids, but they're gonna change.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Because they'll be in design specification. So, yeah, we'll definitely come back.
Thank you very much. Any further comments, questions on this item? Thanks, sir. Moving on this evening, item 7B is regarding a conditional use permit for Ballard Dental. There was a memo included in your packet to this on this subject, I guess I'll say. Dave?
I'll start. We have had a lot of issues relating to signs and our sign permitting process and what needs to be permitted and when and how long it's good for. Found out kind of after the fact that I know in this particular instance, out at Ballard Dental, and I believe also at Rob Drew's place, a previous administrator had allowed them to install some signposts to do temporary banners and didn't require them to permit them like the code called for. It just kind of allowed it to happen. We've had a lot of issues with signs this year that we've been working through. We've even had some requests to see that everybody had permits that Barb and her staff have kind of been working through. So I reached out to our attorney, Amy Beatty, and asked, is this something possible that like where they have these banners that they change out? They might be up for a month, they might be up for 6 weeks. They don't have a banner for a while and they put one back up. Could council grant a conditional use permit for banners for certain businesses if the, businesses come and make that request? And she felt like that you could.
Well, through the Board of Adjustment though, that's the.
Oh, the Board of Adjustment's gonna have to do it?
Well, I mean, I think the council has the ability to waive the requirement and.
Oh,
allow
waive the
certain
requirement.
things. But if you're asking for a conditional use permit, I think that.
Okay.
In accordance with the sign ordinance, that really is the Board of Adjustment.
Then I misunderstood our discussion.
Really, we're asking the council to do that. I think the council, again, has the ability to probably waive the ordinance, given the history of this particular sign. But the alternative in other circumstances, maybe to go through the Board of Adjustment for a conditional or special permit.
Or just kind of throw it out. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts, and we've dealt with a lot of sign issues the last couple months, and I see that continuing for a little while.
I think if we can still go through the Board of Adjustments and get that approved, that's the way we should go. We probably should leave the council out of it at this point. If we're jumping ahead of that group that we've appointed, so I think we should leave it with them.
Yeah, he would just go through ZBA, right? And then ask for the conditional improvement. Is that what we're saying? And there probably won't be an issue with that. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Dave, ZBA.
Thank you, and sorry for the misunderstanding, Amy.
All right, item 7. You're done, right? Item 7C this evening is discussion regarding a potential train car. Parks and Rec and the Huxley Historical Society. Thank you.
So I am here just to bring to light some of our follow-up discussions about this train project. So I met with our park board once again after the comments that I had made at the previous city council meeting. Park board met last Monday about the possibility of changing the location of future rail car, and unanimously would like to keep the original plan of what we had discussed at the open lot behind the amphitheater. So I've just tried to make a little bit more clear of a picture of what they're envisioning with the rail car in the front corner and then prairie grasses and trees and nature walkways with a potential future gazebo to make a nice spotlight area for people to enjoy back there and bring a nice historical element to the Railroad Park Station area. So I listed some of those reasons. One would be the historical connection, which Historical Society has already placed some signage up there. The other thing is that it connects Main Street. So there's not much of a downtown area as of yet, but we have City Hall, Police Department, all those offices. And then we're going down Norwood Kelson Park where the splash pad is going to be next year. And then we have the quote unquote downtown area, which is now getting opened up Main Street all the way down to what is the future anthem. So it helps connect that. Three, it's very budget friendly. Park Board does not have a large budget for any type of projects to get done, as you are aware. This would not be a CIP project, but something that would be funded, the main part, the train would be funded from Historical Society, where the benches, the beautification, the future gazebo could be put into our normal budget, which is about $7,000 a year for park improvements. So we see that as something that my park board would be investing in to create, and our city staff would be working on the planting, obviously, of the trees, and the beautification with the prairie grasses and things.
Great. Thank you very much for those comments. Nels, any questions for Nels? Okay. Thanks, sir. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak on this agenda item? Thank you, Aaron. I assume the rail car is just for observation. It's not, you won't be able to climb through this thing.
What has been discussed is that it will.
So Nels, would it?
Because it sounds like the public will be welcomed inside of this structure. I would encourage you to think through the handicap accessibility requirements that will likely be attached to that. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but something to be cognizant of. So as you're planning. Any other public comments this evening on this topic? See no other public comments, council comments.
Yeah, I guess I'm supportive and thanks to the Historical Society for their donation or, possibility for donation. I'm looking, I think being an old rail town and my dad being a railroader for 42 years, I've always loved trains, right? So, I'm supportive of that. The part I have a little bit of concern with is just the location specifically. I was at a conference today and Iowa City was talking about how they were aligning pedestrian tunnels underneath certain roadways. under a train tracks, as a matter of fact, that they could get it so that it would line up along certain roadways so that the police, if they were driving by, they could look through that pedestrian tunnel and they could shine their light in there and see to ensure safety and make sure no vagrants were staying in there and different things along that lines. Running that parallel to Main Street may have some hidden stuff on the backside. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just wanted to make sure that was taken into consideration if the police had any concerns with that either. I know a lot of other communities have specifically thought of things like that. So being parallel to Main Street with trees on kind of both sides on whistle stop side to the north to the south might be a problem. I don't know. Just want to point it out that, you know, we'd like it to, you know, there's potential for vandalism if it's hidden too much or people or groups hiding on other sides of it that may offer issues later on down the line. So just, I know that's a consideration in other communities and just want to make sure that was thought through here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any other council comments?
I had one, Dave.
Oh, please, Mr. Ridgway.
Yeah, well, first off, yeah, thank you to the Huxley Historic Society. I think it'll be a cool project, and I can't remember if it was Nels or Aaron that mentioned continuity, but I help with the trail cleanup for Friends of Huxley this weekend. And I actually thought of this project because along the Heart of Iowa Trail, there's the signage that kind of pays homage to the railroad and connecting that trail and kind of telling that story along the way, I think could make for a cool opportunity. So I think it's a cool idea. To Greg's point, there is a railroad park down in West Des Moines. I know I've taken my kids to that, but it's been a while now, but they have a train car down there, but I wonder if we couldn't lean on some friends down in West Des Moines to find out how they handle the safety or accessibility of their rail car in their railroad park.
Okay. Yep. Nope, those are all good suggestions, good comments. Anything else from council this evening on this item? Anything else, Heather? Okay. Thank you very much for your efforts, and thank you to the Historical Society as well as the Park Board. Item 7D this evening is in reference to the Ames Resource Recovery Plant. As you probably all know, currently all of the garbage in Huxley is trucked up to the Ames Resource Recovery Plant. There they sort it for recyclables. They take what they can and shred it and then burn that, and that helps fuel the power plant, which generates electricity for the Ames electric utility. What can't get burned currently gets hauled over to the Boone landfill. The Boone landfill agreement with the City of Ames Resource Recovery Plant is set to end in the next year or so. And the city and the Boone landfill has signaled that they're not interested in continuing that relationship. Their landfill is filling up at a much greater rate than they were anticipating. So they would prefer to not have all the additional waste from Story County filling up their landfill. That's left the Ames Resource Recovery Plant in kind of a predicament. In order to, they don't have a lot of great options. Maybe I'll start there. Certainly Story County could build their own landfill. That's about a 7-year process because of all the permitting that's required. First, you'd have to find the land, which would be a task in and of itself because nobody wants to live next to a landfill. But if you could secure the land, then that permitting process is about a 7-year process. So that's not a short-term plan by any means. They did look at other options. I should back up. I skipped a critical piece here. hauling the waste to Boone has become problematic. The other issue is burning the waste has also become problematic. They used to burn the waste with coal. A few years ago, they switched to natural gas. When they did that, the byproduct of the natural gas burning with the refuse makes a very acidic condition. That acidic condition is burning holes in the boiler pipes that run through those burners. So burning garbage is no longer a viable solution either. So we can't burn what we do have, and what's left, we can't haul to Boone. So there's two problems. They did look at building a new garbage burning facility. That was astronomically expensive. Really, it never got off the ground. It just the cost is astronomical. So that really left the Ames Resource Recovery Plant with their next best option, which is to try to negotiate with another landfill. As you're probably aware, there's not a whole lot of landfills in proximity to Story County. You've got Waste Management in Southeast Polk County. Jefferson, I think, has one, and maybe there's one east, but it's like a 2-hour round trip, no matter where you're going, if it's not going to Ames or Boone. The reason this topic becomes of interest to Huxley, currently Huxley is part of a 28E agreement with 11 other cities in Story County, plus Story County themselves and Iowa State University. And that 28E is what allows the resource recovery plant to operate it. It fund the tipping fees, fund that. And that's what makes it work. And that 28E, I believe, goes through 2034. Certainly, we can stick with that. The tipping fees inevitably are going to go up. Whatever Plan B is, and they still don't know what Plan B is, almost certainly is going to be more expensive. Excuse me, than what we're paying now, but we can certainly stick with that. That's an option. Almost certainly, the resource recovery plant is going to be looking for a longer term agreement with the surrounding communities, because whatever their Plan B is going to be, it's almost going to involve some big dollars. They're going to have to bond for those dollars, and they're going to need a lengthy bond. And to service that bond, they're going to need a commitment from the communities that's longer term than just 10 years. So that's on the horizon. There's no good answers at this point. There's a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers. The resource recovery plant is working hard on options, but inevitably this is going to come before the council in the near future without a lot of time to make a decision. So this is kind of just a heads up that it is coming. I don't have a lot of answers for you. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, but I don't have a whole lot of answers. There are communities in Story County that are potentially looking to move away from the existing 28E. The resource recovery plant may be amenable to that, to letting communities out of it if they want to negotiate with a landfill directly. And there are some in northeastern Story County that have indicated that might be of interest to them to no longer partner with Ames Resource Recovery and just do their own thing. Huxley certainly has that opportunity as well. We could negotiate with an adjacent landfill, which really is probably going to be Waste Management in Polk County. And then you'd still have your same garbage providers, but then that agreement would allow our garbage providers to dump there. So again, I apologize because I don't have a whole lot of information, but just giving you a heads up at this point, because it will come before council in the next few months, I anticipate. And we're going to have to make some decisions pretty quickly. So having said that, any initial questions I can answer for anybody, or any initial information that would be helpful to you folks?
I would just note that if you don't remember, the resource recovery was put in place to basically take care of the state mandate many years ago of reducing local waste stream by 50% with what was going to the landfill. So that's why that was originally built. And most of the communities participated. If you look around a lot of other places, they've got the curbside recycling, they're paying extra for that. And this really was, the city's share. I mean, when I was in Nevada, it was the same thing. I think our current fee that we've paid the last couple of years is somewhere between 35 and 40,000 is what we pay to allow, the private haulers to haul there. So it is something that will have to be dealt with. And I've worked around landfills over my 38 years, and they are not fun to deal with. There are a lot of requirements, and that's where that permitting process takes so long. They've added new regulations over the years, and we're kind of already seeing that. I know. I mean, if you have garbage guys as a hauler, you've been noticed that there's going to be a rate increase after the first of the year, and that's part of that is getting ready for that anticipation that it's going to cost more for them to get rid of trash at some point. So.
Okay, any additional questions or comments on that topic? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Mulder and a second by Ms. Roberts. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be November 26th at 6 p.m. Have a good evening.